You know that dream vacation in Bali? White sand beaches, cheap cocktails, and Instagram-worthy sunsets? Well, for the locals, it's turning into a nightmare, and they're starting to hate tourists for it. Bali has been a top travel destination for years, but behind the picture-perfect paradise, frustration is boiling over. From disrespecting sacred traditions to trashing the environment and even taking jobs meant for locals, some tourists are pushing it too far. So what's really going on? Why are Balinese people fed up with visitors? And could Bali's tourism industry be its own worst enemy? Let's break it down. First, let's talk about cultural disrespect, because it's a big one. Bali is deeply spiritual, with temples and religious ceremonies woven into daily life. Yet some tourists don't seem to care. They walk into sacred sites half naked, climb on shrines for a selfie, and even interrupt prayer rituals. A few years ago, an influencer got caught stripping on top of a temple. Locals were furious. Imagine someone doing that inside your church, mosque, or temple. Yeah, it's that level of offensive. Then there's the party culture problem. Bali isn't just beaches and rice fields. It's also home to families, schools, and communities. But for some visitors, it's just a playground. Drunk tourists on motorbikes, people fighting with police, public nudity, it's all too common. Some travelers act like they can do whatever they want, forgetting that real people actually live here. And let's not ignore the environmental disaster. Bali welcomes over 6 million tourists a year. That means more trash, more pollution, and more strain on local resources. Water shortages are getting worse because hotels and villas use up way more than the locals. Some rivers are so clogged with plastic waste that they look like landfills. What was once an island paradise is now drowning in its own tourism boom. But it's not just the environment that's hurting, it's the local economy too. With so many hotels and restaurants owned by foreign investors, much of the money tourists spend doesn't even stay in Bali. On top of that, some foreigners come in, start businesses, and work illegally, taking jobs that should go to locals. Imagine struggling to find work in your own country because outsiders are undercutting wages. That's exactly what's happening here. Now, Bali relies on tourism. It's the island's main source of income. But the downside? Over-dependence on tourism means locals feel trapped. They need the money tourists bring, but they hate what mass tourism is doing to their home. It's a love-hate relationship that's only getting worse. So what's being done? The government is cracking down, introducing new rules, banning tourists from renting motorbikes, and even talking about a tourist tax to fund conservation efforts. But is it enough? The truth is, if things don't change, Bali could lose the very thing that makes it special. The question is, will tourists start respecting the island before it's too late?